IVM.
Hey, if you like this show, then you should definitely check out another show on the IVM podcast network called Paisa Vaisa. It's a show hosted by Anupam Gupta that will clear all your personal finance doubts, from mutual funds to loans to SIPs. New episodes are out every Monday.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of IVM Likes. I have a full packed house today, very nice looking people. Hopefully the sound is good also. My name is Abbas, of course, and with me in the studio I have the producer of this show, Abhineet.
Hello.
I have our graphic designer, Alika.
Hi.
I have our producer, Zoya.
Hi.
And we have this random guy who walked in called Karthik Mohan.
Hello.
Karthik is also a producer here. He has shaved his beard off today.
Yes.
Which is very weird and very shocking.
Weird beard.
Yeah, it's like
He
a...
looks 7 years younger after shaving his beard. I never realized he had really good hair on his head because his beard would take all the attention.
Thanks, Abbas.
But Thanos snapped and his beard went away in the snapture. The reason, yeah, that's what it's called. It's called the snapture.
That's the first I've heard of it. That's
No,
amazing.
it's an accepted term now, the Thanos snapture.
Wow.
But yeah, speaking of Thanos, the reason we have a full house today is because we're going to talk about the movie, guys. The movie that has that if you saw it over the weekend, you were lucky, because I know a lot of people who did not get tickets. We're going to talk about Avengers End Game, guys.
That's right.
Yeah. All of us on this panel saw the film. Just a warning note, whatever you want to take it. We'll talk about the film in the second half. So for about the first 5 to 7 minutes, we'll give our non-spoilery reaction of the film, what we thought of it generally. And then after that, we're going to spoil the shit out of the movie, right?
That's right.
And there is so much to spoil. But before that, this is IVM Likes, which means all of us will first give our recommendations. What have we been experiencing, listening, watching, playing, using. So let's start with the recommendation round first. Karthik, why don't we start with you? What do you have to recommend?
I'm recommending a podcast called Dear Franklin Jones.
Yeah, where did you hear about it, Karthik?
It was some random producer from our studio. I guess it's the name is Abbas. I guess,
Right.
yeah. So he recommended this. So I started
recommended
listening.
it to you, and
Yeah.
now you're passing it on to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really like this podcast because the host of the show is actually born in a family who are into a cult. So the guy's name is Franklin Jones, the
head of the
head
cult.
of the cult. So yeah, so he talks about growing up in a cult with the family, like with everything, like a cult atmosphere. So around him, yeah, a culty
What
atmosphere.
sort of cult
Yeah.
is this? Do
it's
they
in-
do blood sacrifices?
Not actually.
Not exactly,
yeah.
but close. They do weird
do they
things.
like
Yeah, they do
dance in
weird
the
things.
moonlight chanting?
Yes,
things?
something very similar
okay.
to that.
That's very cool.
Yes.
That's not cool at all, Alika. So yeah, so I asked Abbas, like, do you have any books to recommend? Like, I'm totally into cults, like not joining cults, but yeah, reading about them and knowing about them.
That'd be so cool. Just imagine Karthik joining a cult. What cult do you think
Without
he would...
beard.
Yeah.
Without beard. That
What
would be
cult
nice.
would he
Was your
join?
beard-
7 years younger cult.
Was it a sacrifice to your cult?
So no, guys, I'm not into any kind of cults. So yeah, so that's my recommendation. Please,
But tell us something about the show. Like,
How long is it?
How
Is
long is it? How many
So
episodes?
it's a 7-part series, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's about he's talking to people who once were in that cult and how did they got out of it? Like, what made them come out of that cult and what were their practices that they followed? And it's pretty detailed. It has some sexual connotations as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a good podcast, guys. It's a good podcast.
Where can we hear it?
I listened to it on Google Podcasts. Yeah.
Okay.
So I can.
I'll check it
tune
out.
into
Yeah, I
other
think, I mean,
podcasting apps as well.
I
yeah.
heard it on Stitcher, so pretty much wherever you're
Yeah.
listening to,
Yeah.
wherever you listen to this podcast, it's a good chance that you'll find it there. Unless you're listening to it on the IVM
IVM
podcast
podcast.
app, where we don't have Dear Franklin Jones. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fascinating podcast. Do check it out. Abhineet, what do you have for us today?
Okay, this time I have a movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's
This
indie
time,
film.
you've recommended movies before.
Yeah, but I've been recommending apps from
Right,
last
that's
couple
true.
of episodes.
He's a techie guy.
Yeah. So yeah, from tech guys
To
listen to
creative
New One.
mind.
To
yeah.
entertainment.
To
Yeah.
entertainment.
Okay, so getting back to the movie, I'm recommending this movie called Mukti Bhavan.
Okay.
It's called Hotel Salvation in the international market.
yes.
Okay.
And it's a movie about a father and son relationship where the father is 77 years old and the son is like, they don't mention his age, so he's a middle-aged man. So his father suddenly one day feels that he's going to die.
Okay.
And he tells his son ki, please take me to Varanasi
Mm-hmm.
or Banaras, what do you call it?
Right.
So there he'll get mukti.
Okay, yeah.
So you need to take me to Varanasi so that I can get mukti and be free from all these things, the life. And his son, he's a very workaholic person and he like works and dedicates his life to work, and he says, I cannot take leave. So there's no chance you are going. Like,
Yeah.
fine, I'll go on my own.
Okay.
So this triggers the inner son within the what do you
Within the son.
his name Adil Hussain. He's the guy in Delhi crime,
Okay.
the commissioner. So he then leaves and like takes a leave from his job and then takes his father to Varanasi, and then they stay there for a couple of weeks. So there his father finds this lady who she's also there for mukti.
Okay.
And then they both like have a like interest,
Bonding?
like bonding. You cannot call that love interest. Like
Yeah.
it's a bonding.
Yeah.
And then that lady has been staying there for 18 years
Okay.
in search of mukti, but
Okay.
she's still not dead.
So, but then how are they finding this mukti? Like
Mukti,
why not just
mukti is a
commit
very
suicide and like, you know?
mukti, like in this movie, is a very vague term. Like
Okay.
if you come there and then you die in that holy place, you'll get mukti.
Yeah.
So is it like you go to that place, I mean the characters, the thought process I think behind this is you go to that place with the mentality of in case if I die there,
No,
I'll
you
achieve.
go there with to die, yeah.
Oh.
This place, the hotel or what do you call that, ashram, you get the hotel or room on one condition that you have to leave after 15 days. If you don't die, then you leave.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the what
It's like
eligibility
very sad Hunger
criteria.
Games. It's like
Wait,
So-
but then that person's been living there
for 18 years. Yeah.
So she's changing name after every 15
Okay.
days.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
This sounds interesting now.
So after 15 days, like this father is all irritating his son, like this is not good food, I need this, I need that. I am dying. Then he quits dying, something like that. Then, so the son, Adil Hussain, he leaves his father there and then he goes back to his regular life. Like he went back, he goes back to his home and then he starts working.
Right.
And then you have to watch the movie to know the rest. So
Okay.
because it's a very emotionally connecting film, so you need to watch this film because it's a very what do you call it? Slow.
It's a
very
slow
slow,
burner, yeah. Huh.
but it's very emotionally connecting.
Cool. And where did you watch this film?
I watched it on Netflix.
Okay.
So you can get it on Netflix.
How long is the film?
It's around 1 hour 30 minutes.
Oh, not that long.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was Abhineet's recommendation. Zoya, what do you have for us?
Hi, so today I'm recommending a book that I have very recently fallen quite in love with. And I wouldn't consider that as my genre because all I ever read was fiction and all I ever see is fiction. And I am an advertising student. So the book is called Sponge.
Okay.
It's written by entrepreneur
Heard about it.
Ambi Parameswaran.
Yeah, I heard about him also.
Yeah,
There's a
so
host by that name on our network. Is it the
Yes.
same guy?
yes, he is the same guy. And just so you guys know, we do have a podcast on the book Sponge as well, but I'm recommending the book version today. But hope you go check out the podcast as well.
So what's the book about?
So it's basically the leadership lessons he learned in his 40 years of experience from his clients.
Okay.
So when, like for a teenager or for a, like I am an advertising student. I completed my degree in advertising. So for me, branding and marketing, I have been taught that over and over all these years to listen to somebody else's perspective on the same genres, on the same topics and discuss in such depth, but also not in terms like for a new person or for a person who is not really of that caliber or experience, that person will also understand it. So that is something that really struck me, because see, branding is basically like, everybody first defined it as just like a name or a slogan or a sign, right? And or a combination of all the following elements. But in this book specifically, it's like a clear message delivered that all the lessons he learned, there are different chapters, there are like 26 to 28 chapters in the book. And everything he learned in the book has added something to his experience that he didn't learn otherwise.
Okay.
Like there is no degree or there is no like a education format to learn such things. These things come only with experience. And for a person like me to get to know all of that at such a young age, I think that's really inspiring and very, very beautifully written. So, and that book is available on Amazon, by the way. So guys, check it out. It's called Sponge by Ambi Parameswaran.
Cool. That was Zoya's recommendation, and I'll round off the recommendation with my recommendation finally. So I am a big fan of Conan O'Brien. I think I've mentioned that before on this on this podcast.
Yes, we
So Conan O'Brien, of course, does this show, his late night show, which is called Conan. But every now and then he travels with the show to another country. Okay, and those segments are called Conan Without Borders. So it's essentially people who write into him, asking him to come and visit their country, and he goes there with the crew and the writers and does like a 1 hour travel show where he tries to mingle with the culture of that particular country. But obviously Conan being Conan, he stays himself, and it just creates a lot of humor when he tries to mingle with the culture, but he's being this privileged American white person, and everything is just falling flat. Like he's been to Mexico, he's been to Israel, so places where culture is completely different from him and from America, and it's very funny. So recently he got a message from Hugh Jackman asking him to come to Australia and do this episode in Australia. So his recent Conan Without Borders episode was in Australia. It's very funny. He tries to learn the slang and accent of Australia, which he fails at miserably. Then obviously, this being Australia, he tries to interact with the wildlife. And there's a very funny segment where he tries to play with the kangaroos, and there's an expert with him. And he tries to find out how exactly baby kangaroos are in pouches and why they are in pouches. And he tries to get a baby kangaroo in a makeshift pouch that he puts on himself. It's very funny. He also he tries to get the culture of Australia, and he rounds it off with doing a stand-up show. So him and his writers and a couple of more performers do a show there. So where essentially he shoots it over like 3 days. So in the 2 days, whatever Australian culture he learned, this half-baked, half-assed culture, he tries to impress an Australian audience on that show, trying to show like, let's see if I can pass off as an Australian. And obviously he fails miserably, but in that failure is the laughter, where he acts as if he's killing it and the audience is totally like, no, you're not. So the previous episodes of Conan Without Borders are on Netflix. You can check out netflix.com/Conan. The Australia episodes, you can find a lot of clips on YouTube. So Conan's official YouTube channel puts them out. So he's compiled it all in a very neat playlist. So check it out. Check out the Team Coco YouTube page, and you will find all the clips together. So if you watched it back to back, it's like watching the entire episode. So that's my recommendation, and with that we have completed our recommendation round. Alika did not have anything to recommend, sadly.
She's running out of content.
She's still reeling over Avengers End Game. She's like, that's the only thing I want to recommend. Let's recap our recommendations once more. Karthik, you recommended?
The podcast Dear Franklin Jones.
Abhineet?
The movie called Mukti Bhavan.
Zoya?
The book called Sponge.
And I recommended the Australia episode of Conan Without Borders. On that note, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we shall be talking about Avengers End Game. We shall reassemble all the disassembled Avengers once again.
This is it.
We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great, awesome, amazing week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Would like to thank the sponsor on the network this week, Storytel and The Whole Truth Foods. We have a new show out this week, Candid Conan with Siddharth Kannan. Sid Gay is a well-known RJ. He has an incredible show with some of the most amazing Bollywood celebrities. As part of the first week's episode, we're releasing 5 episodes at one time, so you can get your fill of Sid. You can hear him talk to Varun Dhawan, Anil Kapoor, Anurag Kashyap, Bhumi Pednekar, and a whole lot more. This week on the Edges and Sledges podcast with Varun, DJ, and Ashwin, hear them talk about the historic victory that India achieved at Gaba. Maruk Inayat had an amazing talk with Gul Panag. They spoke about the farmer protests and why Bollywood celebs are acting the way that they are. And finally, Shunya 1 is back this week. Shiladitya and me talked to Anirudh Singla from Pepper Content. We have a great lineup of guests coming up in the coming weeks, including Deepak Abbott, the co-founder of India Gold. Definitely check that out. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
Welcome back. It's time to talk about the meat of the episode, the main thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest film that has come out in recent times. We're going to talk about Avengers End Game.
It's pretty
Do you
much
want,
the
do you want a
biggest.
drum roll
biggest, yeah.
behind that?
No, it's already out.
Okay. Damn.
We already told them what we're going to talk about. And we can't play the music because of copyright issues. So yeah.
It's okay, it's okay.
Yeah,
We're
Disney
fine.
will
We
sue us and then everything will go south. Which is ironic because you're already from the south.
No, I know that.
Please.
Oh my god.
Is it already the biggest opening?
So that's the thing. It's grossed around 160 crores in India.
India.
That's a
over
lot.
3 days. It has made $1.2 billion globally. And it is clearly on the way to
Highest
become
opener.
at least the highest grossing, or at least in the
Yeah.
top 3.
Top 3. Yeah.
Plus,
highest
there was
grossing
also
films.
something like they took special permission from the government, like for 24-hour shows. You had a show at
Yeah,
3:30
I mean,
in the morning.
2:30, 3:30, 4:30.
yeah, which I've never seen. I've
Yeah,
never seen
for any
Neither have I, seriously.
Indian theaters. And it's not just like even the big theaters, even the smaller theaters were
Yeah,
doing shows at
exactly.
like
Right.
3:30 in the night, and they were going houseful.
Houseful,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the
which
week
was more
before Kalank
surprising.
launched.
Surprising, shocking. Damn. You have the Avengers, we have Kalank. But so for the next about 3 to 5 minutes, about 5 to 6
Yes.
minutes, we're gonna give our general opinion about Avengers End Game. We're not gonna spoil the movie, guys, for the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
We are just being.
Please be very vague and general
Okay.
in your
Yeah.
comments.
After that, though, spoilers galore.
Yes.
You have been
Yeah.
warned.
Yes, and there is a lot to spoil in this film. So I'll start with my opinion first.
Yes.
You wanted that.
Fine, let's start.
postponed
Alika,
this-
you didn't recommend something. Let's
No,
start
I
with
just want to
your-
point out we have postponed recording this podcast 3 times because Abbas has so many opinions about it and really wanted to be on
had
this
to
episode.
vote, guys. Okay, quickly, non-spoilery review.
Yes.
Lived up to all expectations I had.
Wow,
in
all
a
of
few
them?
in a few places exceeded my expectations.
Okay.
I think a near perfect end to like the 11-year saga.
The 3 parts.
That is the
3 phase.
Yes.
the three phases
Yes.
that the MCU has been. Actually, third phase is not over yet because Spider-Man Far From Home is going to
Okay,
be the
yeah,
final.
right.
Oh, is that
It's
the
last
final
one.
Yeah,
one?
that's the final
Okay.
chapter according to Kevin Feige. But yeah, it gave me, I mean, I saw it at 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday. And I've heard stories about Rajnikant films and Salman Khan films on the Friday they open. And it was just that. The people cheering, jumping out of their seats,
Yeah. Shrieking.
clapping, shrieking, screaming,
Yeah.
crying. Yes, all of that. So it's an experience. If you have not watched it, or if you're in any doubt, try and catch the film in the first week itself. It's amazing.
You must also say the ticket sales, man.
Yeah,
It was
ticket sales
very
have been
difficult to
crazy.
get into theaters, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I had to get a friend to book 4 days in advance.
Yeah.
So I remember-
I got
I
lucky.
8 o'clock
I got-
show in the morning.
I was lucky. I got the tickets a night before.
How?
Well,
you have
I
to
was-
explain to us how you did that.
Book my show.
But you know, Book My
So-
Show had
Very
actually
anticlimactic.
crashed.
yeah.
It did, yes.
And when I have my notifications on, okay, and when I got the news that the pre-booking thing is now live and it's going, and I had my notifications on, and then suddenly I get a pop-up saying, "Oops, it's crashed," or "Oops, something went wrong." I'm like, "What the hell? You can't oops in this movie." Excuse me.
Yeah.
I remember at a week before the release, I text Abbas saying that, "Hey, the tickets are out. Like, I want to go. I want to go to this movie with you." And he was like, "I already booked the ticket." Okay, so this was 3 in the night.
Yeah.
And he was like, I already booked the ticket on the first day of the ticket sales, yeah.
Wow.
Because I knew it's going to be a mad rush. Even when I booked, I think there were the last 5 tickets remaining. So
You just asked me.
Like,
Like,
screw
you should
Karthik.
just ask me, like, Karthik.
No,
Like,
I didn't want to take that chance
Oh, God.
of confirming with you. And besides, I knew you wouldn't come all the way to town where I was.
I
gonna
wouldn't
book it.
mind.
Well, we
Endgame.
both have seen
I
the
went to
film now.
Andheri to watch the movie.
Which is still fine.
Which is not fine at all.
I beg your pardon. Do you have something against Andheri now?
No, it's far, that's all. It's far from my place.
Okay.
Everything is far from my place.
But quick non-spoiler reactions from you guys.
It was good.
It was just good.
I'll spoil it later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. you spoiled
Abhineet
it.
has issues with.
To me, I think this movie has been one of the best movies, actually the best movie I have seen so far.
Oh,
And
okay.
yes, I haven't seen a better movie. And maybe it's because, there is this emotional connection, and over all these 21 years, they've built these characters in a way where you actually feel like they're your superheroes, And to see that, I don't
Not
know, coming...
21 years, 11 years.
11 years, 22
No,
movies.
21.
22
I am
movies.
21
Oh,
years
okay.
old. Yeah, that's what I meant. So just to see that, and I think in the midst of all the action, the amount of emotions that are in this movie is incredible and so apt. Neither ways, if it's not overpowering, it's not underwhelming, it's just the right balance, and it's so perfect.
I was
Just
impressed
as
with...
Thanos likes it.
Okay. I was impressed that they managed to have like quiet moments in the movie.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
usually in a lot of the
Exactly.
superhero movies, it's a lot of very quick action scenes, one after the other, especially with this sort of movie.
Yeah.
I expected it to be just one scene after the other.
Yeah.
They managed to have a lot of decent quiet scenes, which were really important for the movie.
Yeah.
Because it let it breathe and it let you feel the emotion of the movie.
It's like it just came to a standstill during those quiet emotional scenes. Everything just comes to a standstill, and you get the chance to actually, let
Take
that
it
sink in. Yeah.
And the thing that I like the most is every character had a meat to it. Like all the surviving Avengers, I would say. I felt the first half was very, it was slow, but it was necessary, and every character was established in the first half.
Okay.
And the second half, as you know, spoilers a lot.
Alright, warning guys, spoiler warning. We're gonna talk spoilers from this moment on.
Bang,
So,
bang,
yes, in
bang,
case you guys
bang.
haven't seen the film, please stop listening or
Watch the film and then
watch
come
the
back
film,
and
come
listen.
download this episode, press pause, download this episode and listen to the rest of it after you watch the film. Or if you're someone who just doesn't give a shit, then we should mention that there have been selective sound engineers and people who sat on this because they didn't want to get their film spoiled.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, one last time, spoiler warning. We're gonna be talking spoilers, guys. Guys, could you imagine Superman showed up, guys, in Avengers? No, that did not happen.
That happened in Shazam.
That happened in Shazam. Yes. Where do you guys want to start with? Let's start with.
Wherever you say.
What we saw in the trailer versus what. So what we saw in the trailer was very
Completely different.
it was
I
a
wanna-
minuscule amount of what
I want
the
to
film
point
was.
out I did not watch trailers.
Did not watch a single
I
trailer.
watched the first trailer they put out, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to enjoy it more if I don't know anything.
That's true. I think I just saw 2 trailers, the full length trailers, and then after that I shut everything up.
For me, it was like I used to check every night if there is a new trailer, and I used to watch the trailers on loop because I didn't want to miss like one tiny little aspect of the trailer also, and I was kind of connecting trailers in my head but also not trying to come to a conclusion.
So did the plot that you had in your head, was it anywhere close to what the
No.
actual plot was? Okay,
No,
cool.
not at all.
In case of me, I knew everything before the movie.
Right. Yeah. Karthik
My brother,
had this.
my cousin from Australia spoiled it for me.
Wow.
That too on a Friday morning.
Wow. Your cousin is...
He knew that I would be going for the first day first show, so he spoiled it for me.
Actually,
Like,
a
cool.
leaked version of the film had leaked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some major spoilers were already out. actually.
yeah.
Was it like a 20-minute footage that was
Something
leaked?
like
Last
that.
fight.
The last
the
fight.
last
yeah.
fight
Yeah.
was
Which was.
Wait, are we... This is spoiler territory now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we
just
already
checking.
are.
Yeah.
I'm just checking. I
So,
forgot where we started.
Let's start with what I really loved about the film, what they did with Thor and Hulk.
Yeah.
I really loved what they did with their characters. They made Thor into this sad sack of a fat ex-god who is down in the dumps, beer drinking.
That slightly
Who's
upset
depressed.
me.
Yeah, and also I have
same here.
opposing views on that
Yeah,
too.
Because Infinity War was the time when we knew that it's either Thor or Captain Marvel who's gonna take the last shot at Thanos.
But that's the thing, that they
People
totally
predicted that.
sort of, did a 360 on that, and that did
Yeah.
not happen.
And that was so unexpected.
That was, I
Nobody
think, in fact,
expected that.
I remember on an episode of Geek Fruit when I happened to be on the Captain Marvel episode, and me, Jishnu, and Tejas were speculating about what might happen, and we were all speculating whether they'll just do a Deus Ex Machina and be like, Captain Marvel just comes and solves everything, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think in this movie they went out of their way to keep her away.
Yes.
Where they were
Yeah.
like, let's just have her at the beginning of the film and the end of the film.
Yeah. But
And
she did
let's-
still like pretty much do.
Well, she saved Tony
The
Stark,
most of-
which is fine, I guess.
Yeah.
She had a pretty cool fight with Thanos, but then
Thanos,
she
yeah.
got her ass handed to her.
Yeah,
Because,
exactly.
he took the
I personally
power
felt that this Thanos was stronger than the...
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. The way they portrayed it...
Maybe,
yeah.
The
Because-
last Thanos, Infinity War, was definitely Thanos' film, and that was a way more tragic Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he was like, I've
He
just got this
sacrificed
one.
his daughter.
Yeah. And in a way, again, spoiler, the Infinity War Thanos gets killed off in the first 10 minutes of the
10
film.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gets beheaded.
Yeah.
And in a way, if you look at that arc, that Thanos actually succeeded in what he wanted
He
to
won.
do.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
He wiped out 50% of the world. He's living his
He's like-
He destroyed the stones. He destroyed
Yeah.
the stones.
Yeah.
His purpose is basically fulfilled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He destroyed the stones. He's living his retirement life. And
Yeah, I
then-
like that scene. Like he's
Yeah.
picking the vegetables and cooking.
I believe it's dragon fruit
Yeah.
that he's farming.
And I love the dialogue. I love the
on
dialogue
another
that
planet.
Yeah.
that's before this scene. There's a dialogue where like, where do you think Thanos is? And they go like, Thanos is in a garden.
Yeah.
He has retirement plans. And I went
Who else
like,
is there
wow.
with him? Yeah.
So the part right after that, which you were talking about, Karthik, where we almost get this post-apocalyptic, depressed version of the world where
Yeah.
people have lost people, and basically superheroes have pretty much, they're doing their superhero stuff, but they're not doing it with that much vigor.
Yeah.
We see Captain America has pretty much become like a support group
for
because
the-
he's helping
yeah.
people get over the grief.
yeah.
Not Scarlet Witch, sorry, Black Widow is still
She's the one who still didn't give
Yeah.
up the hope that Thanos
Yeah.
would be.
She's like
around
the
somewhere, yeah.
glue. She's gluing them all together, you know?
Yeah, we see that scene where
She's the coordinating.
Yeah.
where she's talking to
Rocket
War
and-
Machine Rocket
Yeah.
and Captain
Captain
Marvel.
Marvel.
So she's still abreast of what's happening and people are being saved, but she's not. Again, it's not happening the way it used to.
Yeah, correct.
What did you guys think about that part of the film? Because I've heard a lot of people
So-
were a little mixed about that.
That part was alright, but like, despite the fact that some of them had like sort of fallen by the wayside, some of them found their bliss in that wayside. Like Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Tony
Yeah.
Stark, yeah.
Got married, he had a daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice.
The moment they showed a daughter, I was like,
Yeah.
he's gonna die. They're gonna make him a great dad, and then they're gonna
Yeah.
kill him.
He's living a happy life now. But
I know.
No.
I was like, anyone who has a happy middle,
Yeah.
they're going
Gonna
to suffer.
die, yeah.
They're
Except
not
for
gonna-
Black Widow. Throughout the from the first Avengers film, she
kind of never had a happy
moment.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only happy
Sad.
moment was like when she smiled while she was voluntarily sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone.
Stone,
Yeah.
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 So that's the only
I
smile I, saw.
liked
on
that
her
scene weirdly because I thought it was I don't know, it was like emotional, so I felt it.
Yeah.
But then later I'm like, really? But at the moment I
But then you
enjoyed it.
see, because she has such a sad history, she
Yeah.
doesn't have, like, her family, she's unaware of
She
her
doesn't.
family and all of those things. And Hawkeye on the other end, like, the movie begins with his family,
Yeah.
Yeah.
disintegrating into dust.
Yeah.
And that scene when that little chubby baby goes like, who likes mustard anyway? I like ketchup. And after that, when he couldn't find him, I sobbed on the first very scene, and I was like, I was bawling my eyes out.
Which is
Very
very
sad.
interesting because when Joss Whedon introduced his family in Age of Ultron, apparently the studio heads wanted him to remove that part from the film because they thought they're slowing the film down, and then that became like the emotional center of this
Yeah.
one.
Endgame, yeah.
Yeah.
Always
Another
just
two
glad he
character-
didn't.
another two characters that I felt was used perfectly was Ant-Man and Nebula.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was actually
I
surprised
just-
by how
Total
much
agreement.
Nebula had to do
Exactly.
in the film.
Yeah.
I was surprised by how much screen time Ant-Man got. And let me just say, I love Ant-Man. You guys, this is a secret about me. I enjoy Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Even the shitty comic book version, which is Hank Pym, I do like his character, okay? You can come and burn me at the stake later. I like Ant-Man. I was really happy to
Yeah,
see
exactly.
I think
cool things in this
Ant-Man is
movie.
like the audience's perspective in this film because he's just come out and he doesn't know what happened and he wants everything, he
Yeah.
wants everything to go back to
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
which is what the audience also wants,
Yeah,
right?
because
And he
we
saved
just get
the-
5 years later, but
Exactly.
they get to live 5
Yeah.
years later.
By the way, I mean, did your audience gasp when that 5 years later title came on the this thing? Because in my
Yeah.
screening, people are like, "What the hell?" Because the word 5 comes, and then people are like, "Weeks, days," and it's like years.
And where's Thanos?
Thanos is dead. 5 years later, what is happening?
Oh.
But then, of course,
The
a
epilogue.
rat brings back
The
Ant-Man.
the true hero of Avengers is that unnamed rat.
If it wasn't for the rat, we would like die in like rot in heaven or something like that. Rot in hell or rot in the same planet. Yeah.
Same planet, yeah. Ant-Man comes back. Then, of course, we did. How many of you here expected some sort of time travel to happen?
Me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
expected because it was the quantum realm. If you follow Marvel comics, then it's pretty evident what quantum realm
Realm.
actually
Yeah.
realm.
The micro.
I had my South Indian come out.
The micro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think everybody kind of expected the quantum realm aspect.
I did.
to
I
be
expected time travel, but you know what? I expected they'll time travel to Infinity War. I didn't expect them to actually take us back to the first Avengers
Yeah.
film.
Oh,
the
that
first
scene,
Guardians
though.
film.
Those callbacks.
Everything they did in that section where they travel back to the first Avengers film, I loved it.
there. Yeah.
I guess they
Everything.
It was such a love letter to all
all
the
the
films which
fans,
came
all the
before.
fans
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, hey guys, here are some cool scenes you want to revisit.
And thanks for being around with us. That's what
Yeah.
I felt.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
fans, for
Yeah.
And
being around
it's
with
like
us.
that part where they're spying. I mean, so the first Avengers film ends where they arrest Loki, right?
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
actually get to see what happened exactly after.
Exactly, yeah.
Right,
Which is
and
cool.
which they must have reshot, but it just looks like so seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, maybe they actually shot it, and
Yeah.
now they're showing it from another
But guys,
perspective.
I have to ask you people, what was your reaction when Captain America just went Hail Hydra?
I was like,
Okay, that was a moment from the comics.
Yeah, I should ask Alika, like, did you go like, oh my god, they did it, they did
I was
that
like,
moment?
this is next level treachery.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, but you know the whole comics controversy, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was
terrible.
it was a
Yeah.
great way to turn it around and
Yeah.
use it
Exactly,
in the
yeah.
film.
Yeah.
In a funny way. That like,
The way he enters the elevator and you're like, oh my god, it's like Winter Soldier all over again.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see that thing again? But then
He
they
likes
subverted.
elevators.
and
Yeah.
another fight scene.
Fun fact about
was
Captain America.
was Captain America.
Ah,
Always
oh.
was Captain America. Yeah, obviously.
That was also a good scene.
Yeah.
Everything, I think, Hulk taking the stairs. Like, stupid stairs, you know? Loki escaping with the.
I expected Loki to have a bigger
Tesseract.
role in this somehow. I
Yeah,
don't know
me
why. I
too,
thought he
really.
would come
He's
at the
getting
end.
his series. So,
Yeah.
That's true, actually. He's getting his own series.
But yeah, I
He's
would like a-
peace out, y'all. I'm
like a
not part of
I
this
expected a
anymore.
payoff though. Like when he disappeared, I'm like, he is gonna appear
You know
somewhere
what I
in the
thought?
film. Yeah.
What I thought would happen was that he would disappear and with that stone, and then
Yeah.
eventually go to Asgard, and then that timeline would change. So he would meet up with the Thor and Rocket who were in Asgard to
Okay.
get their stone. That's what I thought was happening. But like
So
that
about the time, let's talk about the timeline stuff. Because I'm quite confused about this.
timelines, listen, time travel makes no sense. Whatever
the-
you do, however you explain it,
The
whichever.
first doubt that I had was if Nebula kills the other Nebula.
How is she
Yeah.
still alive?
Yeah, how is she still alive?
Which I get, which they make very clear that this
Yeah,
is
in the
not
first
that
reference,
that
yeah.
if you kill your past self, you won't die.
Hulk says
Yeah.
that,
But
right?
she
Yeah.
kills her future. No, does
No,
she?
but
Exactly,
like any
no.
changes that you do in the past, I
They're
think
not gonna
it's not going to affect your present.
But then we get another explanation from the Sorcerer Supreme
Yes.
before, before Doctor
Tilda
Strange or
Swinton.
Tilda Swinton, where she makes this alternate timeline thing where if
Yeah.
you change something. And then at the end, we see Captain America go back and return the stones.
At the moment.
So
that they
then
were
what
taking.
does that mean that Tilda Swinton still went ahead and passed on the stone to
Yes.
Doctor Strange?
Yes.
But then that only means then they led up to this moment anyway.
Correct.
Yeah. So
It's a self-fulfilling loop, right? Like
Yeah.
a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's like the perfect way to put it.
And
think.
if Thor went back in time and got back Mjolnir, what about the
the
Thor
Thor,
of that
the present Thor,
timeline?
yeah.
I
He's
assume
without a hammer.
where Captain America
Yeah.
took the hammer back as well. Because he could lift it.
Okay.
Speaking
That was
of
one of the
which,
best scenes of the whole
when
movie.
the hammer got lifted in the air and they did not
Yes.
show who it was,
Yeah, that
tell me
was,
who do you think
Captain America, I predicted that,
did you have Captain
Yeah.
America in mind,
Yeah.
or you thought
No, I thought it was going to go back to Thor, but then it went into Captain America. That
Yeah.
Rajnikant moment happened.
Yeah.
In my theater. I was like, oh,
So remember on the Age of Ultron,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the moment when he said, I knew it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Thor said, I knew it.
Yeah.
because
But
back
you know-
in Age of Ultron, he just goes like, no, still not worthy.
Yeah.
You know the theory behind it, right? That the reason why a Cap wasn't able to lift it in Age of Ultron was because he still hadn't told Tony Stark that his parents were killed by Bucky.
Oh, yeah, right.
So he
Okay.
held that thing inside him, and which is why he wasn't as worthy, because there was a bit of treachery in him still.
Yeah.
Once,
didn't know this.
Once it's out there,
My mind is
yeah.
like blown right now.
now that he's
got him over there.
now that him and Tony Stark are like he's given up that little piece of information that he kept it. Now he's totally worthy, because now it's
Post
totally
the Civil
pure.
War.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's one of the theories that's out
And
there.
I like the chemistry between Iron Man and Captain America
Oh, yeah.
throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Throughout
think-
all the movies, they've had this very
We
interesting
missed out.
tension.
We missed that in the Infinity War. I personally felt that. Like
Okay.
in the first Avengers, second
Infinity War,
Avengers.
actually, I think Captain America doesn't have much screen time. He doesn't have much to do. Because again, like, it's Thanos' film. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody pretty much is just struggling in that movie.
Yeah.
And this film actually, sort of the advantage of it is that there are less Avengers to handle. A select group of Avengers, so they can
For a
let
time.
everyone do their thing.
Everyone got their individual story arcs. Yeah.
But you remember in Infinity War, the main war sequence, it's like they're losing, and the one that happens in Wakanda. And they're losing, and then Thor is like literally the strongest Avenger, right? So when he comes in, well, yeah, we might debate on that. But then when he comes in, they pretty much win that section of the battlefield. But in this movie, I thought Thor was wasted.
But that was the point, I thought. Karthik, you...
Yeah, I would say the first of all, they previously on an interview established that Thor isn't the strongest Avenger. Captain Marvel is the strongest Avenger.
Yeah.
And in the first 10 minutes when Thanos was killed, it was pretty much evident that itna hi tha Thor ke liye.
Yeah.
Usko marna. After that, they had to, like, for the story arc, they had to make him fat. That's what I personally felt.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
because obviously, if there's Captain America, if there's Thor, and then it's pretty much the movie is it. The movie is complete. Like, two strongest
But I
Avengers,
still
and
feel,
then
like he is the god of thunder and lightning. He should have gotten like
but he's not thinking about his emotions. He lost everything.
Yeah, I think
I know.
that was he's not in the state of mind
Yeah.
to once again face Thanos, because that thing is in the back of his head
Yeah.
that when I had the chance, I didn't take it.
Yeah.
That-
That he was
Me-
a failure at that
Yeah.
point.
Me killing Thanos didn't really change anything.
Yeah.
But I think still that whole standoff between Thanos and
Thor.
Iron Man, Captain America,
The
and
Avenger
Thor,
Trinity,
yeah, the Avenger Trinity, original Trinity,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call them, was pretty kick-ass. I think.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was pretty fun to watch.
It wasn't one-sided, but it was one-sided for Thanos. But all the three Avengers played their roles. Yeah.
They did, yes. What did you guys think about again, we've talked about this, but Black Widow dying, there's this allegation that you had one female in the original Avengers lineup and you just killed her off.
I know, but honestly, I was trying to think of like what would Black Widow's happy ending be, and I genuinely
Yeah.
have like
No answer to that.
Yeah, it's a constant
It's a-
struggle for her
yeah.
anyway.
she wouldn't be happy in a happy ending. Do you get what I mean?
Right.
I
Yeah.
do, yeah.
So,
Speaking
I
of
mean, like, I
female
guess she would've
characters, how did you like the female empowering
I
scene?
did not
God,
like it.
Not like that either.
Why?
Yeah,
because
it was
it
just...
felt so
Yeah, so
Cliche.
felt
yeah,
written
so
by
cliche.
a-
Yeah, like
You
But
know what?
dude, it
felt
was
written
needed.
by a man.
yeah, it was like Nari Shakti. Chalo,
Yeah. I'd rather have that whole fight between Scarlet Witch and Thanos. That
That
was
was-
that was
amazing.
epic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that was
was really
amazing. Especially because of the loss of vision. Because you
Yeah.
can't have vision without the Mind Stone.
There was a pun. Loss of vision.
Yeah.
But I love how
I missed
Wanda...
Vision in this film.
Yeah, even I missed.
I was wondering when he'd be there, and then I was like, wait.
Yeah.
He can't be there.
There's no Jarvis, there's no...
No, I was
Yeah.
really upset about Vision, but it was fun.
So one more doubt that I had. So, do we still have the Infinity Stones around?
I assume so.
Because...
So we know the Tesseract is somewhere with Loki.
in the present timeline.
Because we don't know where Loki went, he might have gone on. He might have come to the present. So another interesting thing is also that the mainstream Marvel timeline is now 2023, because there was that 5-year time jump.
Yeah.
So we don't know if Marvel's just gonna keep it that way and make alternate timeline movies for the next 5 years and then take it forward. Or are we just supposed to accept that now every Marvel film is just 5 years in the future?
Or I guess this is for just the
I'm
phase
getting
3,
a
I would say.
headache.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think. So he took the Infinity Stones back.
Yeah.
And then they went ahead in time and they were taken, and then Thanos got them and then he broke them. So are they dead? Are they gone?
No. So when Iron Man did the snap, which took his life,
Yes.
the Infinity Stones were still in the
Correct.
gauntlet,
And then-
which was then placed back to wherever they took it from by
Correct.
Captain America.
So they went back to their original
Yeah.
timeline.
They know Captain America went back.
No, I'm talking about the stones.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That is the confusing part. That if you can just go back and put everything back to the timeline like it was, then doesn't that affect the timeline that they are in right now?
No, I kind of understand what they did with that. It's like they removed it from that timeline for 1
Yes.
second.
Yeah.
And then they put it back.
Okay.
So is it there in the present realm?
So I would say then the present realm goes on with the whole Thanos gets the Infinity Stones and snaps.
I'll tell you, like, time
makes
travel
no
is a
sense to me,
bitch.
though.
But then does that mean that that a version of Captain America was just living out his life with Peggy all this while?
That was
There was another doubt. Like,
that was a
he was-
very
he was-
sweet scene. Whatever
was there.
would've
It
done.
was. It's
And
the
if you
perfect
remember-
ending. I'm not
Yeah.
doubting
Yeah,
that.
if you remember, they always have talked about this dance that was long
Yeah.
overdue,
Yeah.
and they never get
the
it.
first part itself. Yeah.
So for them to end the movie like that, I think
I
couldn't
felt-
have been a more
I
Another
felt
beautiful.
at
doubt,
least
another
Captain
doubt.
America had a good ending. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
good for you, buddy.
I think even the Tony Stark ending, we all saw it coming. And
Yeah.
in fact, I recently, after watching Endgame, I rewatched Iron Man 3 and bits of Iron Man 1 and 2.
Wow.
And you realize just how much of a amazing character arc they've given him. Because from 1, 2, 3, Iron Man 1, 2, 3, he's this, especially 1 and 2, he's this proud asshole who just who's selfish and just wants to be cool and all of that. And then Avengers, the first one, he gets this fear of attack from outside. That plays in Iron Man 3, where he starts building more suits.
And Avengers 2 as well.
In Age of Ultron, it comes to the peak where he's like, let's build a armor around the world, and which is a line repeated in Endgame.
Okay, yeah,
where he's like, I told you this would happen, none of you actually this. And then finally giving his life in the ultimate sacrifice to save everyone and bring everyone back.
Yeah.
Kind of slight parallel to Avengers 1, where he was the one who went into space, of died, pseudo died after that.
Yeah.
But guys, we're missing the ultimate point where it feels like after Cap gets the hammer and he's still, he has his moment, but then still he's kind of very hurt. And it feels like Cap's gonna die. And then you hear Falcon's voice saying, on your left.
Yeah.
And that's when the theater erupted.
God.
And the circle started opening up.
Yeah.
And everyone came. Like, everyone from every Marvel film.
I'd never expected
came back.
Valkyrie to come.
Exactly.
Where is she? Where
I
was she?
didn't
Where
expect
was the
Wasp to be in this film. I'm like, maybe Ant-Man.
No,
will
I
come.
saw that interview with Wasp.
Wasp
with,
is awesome.
What's the character's name? Lily, like
Evangeline Lilly.
Yeah. So she was like, I have a role in the movie, so it's for like 20 seconds, but I'm there in the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, everyone comes back, and then obviously they have this huge showdown.
They didn't have Goose the cat, though. So
Yeah, I know.
But what a beautiful scene that was, that when Doctor
all
Strange.
the portals are opening.
The
that
portals.
and the happiest
Those-
moment I believe was the arrival of Spider-Man. The
Yes.
theater erupted.
Yeah.
Like,
They gave Tony and Peter the moment where
Yeah,
he got to
like,
hug him again.
Even I
That's
erupted
sad.
that time.
You erupted.
I erupted a lot.
It was, yes. But yeah, I think we more or less covered everything. Anything we might have missed?
Yeah,
What about the
someone
future?
dying. Someone dying.
Tony Stark dying, yeah. I mean, I think they did it very well. They
Yeah.
gave him a really good send-off.
Yeah.
and they
Also-
slightly referred to Vision and
Black Widow.
Black Widow's sacrifice as well.
You know
Towards
what
the end.
I think? Like something is coming up for Tony's daughter. Like she'll be
I would say Rescue
something.
would be the next thing.
Rescue?
Rescue is the female Iron Man.
Achha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
Right about
like,
I was
yeah.
hoping, okay, if we're talking about what we expect for the future, I was hoping Shuri would become
Iron Man?
Ironheart.
Oh, okay.
Ironheart,
right,
who's
oh.
basically Riri Williams in the comics.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought because they have Shuri and Riri, then maybe
Yes.
they'll do a combination and make
And
her
the
Ironheart.
best part that I'm really interested for the Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh.
or the Asgardians of the
As
Galaxy.
Guardians of the
Big
Galaxy.
spoilers.
Seriously.
So I somewhere know that the villain's going to be Adam Warlock.
Oh, yeah.
Adam Warlock's a good guy in the
Yeah,
comics.
first he
but
turns.
he
First he'll
doesn't
be
know
the.
Okay.
anything in the
Okay.
beginning.
Yeah. So. So it's. I guess they had to bring Thor to the Guardians of the Galaxy because it's Adam Warlock, who's one of the strongest Avenger. So
Does
yeah,
anybody
maybe-
else absolutely just love Star Lord and Thor's equation?
Yeah. So they're gonna play off
Who's
that
the
a
captain
lot.
of the ship? We know who's the
Two
captain.
white guy
The voice
alpha
again.
males on that ship. Oh, the testosterone.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know where Gamora is. Last we
Yeah.
see is the computer is searching where she is. So yeah. I'm very interested about what they're going to do in Spider-Man Far From Home because this film is just like on such an epic level.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another question is that when we see Peter go back to his high school, all his friends are still the same age as he was.
Yeah.
Does that mean they all were snapped? Because the people who were snapped, for them apparently it was like a moment that they
Yeah.
were gone. They didn't feel it
Yeah,
was
because
5 years.
Yeah.
that's what he said, right? Strange came back and just told him that we
Yeah.
have to fight.
We have to
Okay,
fight.
go.
Yeah. And Hawkeye's kids are still kids, whereas
Yeah.
Ant-Man's daughter is a teenager.
That is
yeah, a
extremely
lot of,
confusing, which I did not think about.
And did Peter Parker pass all his exams? 5 years. 5 years is pending, guys.
So yeah, a lot of questions. Really interested to see where it all goes. Spider-Man Far From Home is the only film that Marvel has officially announced yet after Endgame. But before we wrap up, so between Infinity War and Endgame, which one do you prefer? Which film?
Both, one after the other.
You think you see it as one?
Yeah,
epic-
I would
epic
definitely
film?
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody?
Yeah.
I guess.
Or just the
Right.
22 films in all together. Yeah.
One.
I think I liked Endgame a little bit more.
Okay.
I think so.
I think for me it's going to be Infinity War could be a very close second,
Okay.
but then Endgame rules
But you
over.
missed Thor.
I just want to point out that before going into the movie, I knew who was going to survive. It's everybody who's only had one movie so
That's
far.
true. Yeah.
Obviously,
It was like Black Panther's going to survive,
Doctor
Captain
Strange.
Marvel's going to survive,
Spider-Man.
Doctor Strange will survive. Peter Parker will definitely survive because we know the Spider-Man is there. So
I remember you saying me like this weekend one of the Starks will die.
yeah,
Yeah.
some
Apparently the
Stark
other one.
will die.
Game of Thrones reference. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about any new superheroes or franchises? They might not franchises, but like comics they might adapt into Marvel now. I'm hoping Young Avengers
Oh, yeah.
because I would really
But do
like
you
to see
think-
Wiccan, Hulkling, Norval, America Chavez. I want to see that.
So you
group
think
of
they're going to
youngsters.
live up to the expectations that the MCU fans already have? Because it's like a tough job to do.
It would be very difficult because one, you realize that the characters that they've played right now, not just 11 years in movies, they've been there as a constant for about 60 years in comics.
That's right.
The Young Avengers and the new group of heroes, while they're super popular, especially like Kamala Khan as well, they have only been there from
15
around.
years, yeah.
Not even.
5,
They've been
6
here
years,
like
yeah.
2012 roughly.
Okay.
Yeah.
They've roughly been around, say, 2010s onwards. So there's not that much of a massive history behind them that they would be able to, pepper in references in the movies. So it would be kind of like building from scratch. with
Yeah.
these characters.
I personally
But
feel
I
that
like them.
I personally feel that they'll establish all the other characters like Doctor Strange, then
They
Guardians
will.
of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I
some
mean,
more,
the
yeah.
next lineup of the Avengers is going to be that. Doctor
Yeah.
Strange, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel.
all phase 2.
I wonder if they'll make it a very mentory thing. Like next whole phase 4 might just be like, all these old guard who are left behind would just be like the mentors for the new guard.
Yeah, like
So who's
Black
left?
Panther being
Steve
the
Rogers is
mentor.
left, Hawkeye is left, and
Steve Rogers.
Hulk is left.
Winter Soldier, you mean Bucky Barnes?
No, Bucky Barnes
Bucky Barnes
wasn't in the original Avengers lineup. I'm
you
just saying,
mean
yeah, from the
Thor.
original lineup. Oh yeah, Thor is still
is
around,
But he is going to space.
Oh, yeah, in
Space
space.
adventures.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want Marvel to make alternate timeline films for the next 5 years and
Oh,
then
God.
then pick up from where they left off.
I don't like alternate timeline films. It gives me a headache. Listen, we did this with X-Men.
I was just thinking, I'm like, what if
So
the
confusing.
MCU now just becomes like the X-Men timeline? Where
They
it's
can
just
get the
all
X-Men,
over the
right?
place.
Yeah.
They can, but
They will eventually because
The
They
X-Men
will?
is the best.
I think I think
superhero
they
team.
still have enough characters to play with for them to bring in.
Yeah,
X-Men.
they might do
a Disney Plus series or something.
Yeah,
but,
they would definitely go for the Deadpool movie. They'll continue the same.
but that's still gonna continue as the Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing. I mean, he'll make a lot of jokes about being in the MCU, but I don't think they'll integrate it.
No, I think they might do X-Men TV series. Basically.
Something like that. Yes.
They may not because yeah.
Yeah, the MCU. The book is wide open. Tell us what you thought of Avengers End Game.
Yes.
Tell us if you disagree with any of our opinions, but they're just opinions. They can't be right or wrong.
Yeah.
Very
Be
arbitrary.
civil in your discourse, and I hope
Be
you
mindful of spoilers to people who have not yet
not
seen
seen
it.
the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't just tweet
Be
to
kind,
us.
you guys. Come
Don't
on,
be like my
kind.
cousin.
R.I.P. Tony Stark. Do reach out to us. You can reach out to us at IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Where a lot of people here, so let's quickly do where people can reach all of us on social media. Alika,
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CapeFoxAlex.
Abhineet,
You guys can find me on Instagram at Abhineet Mandal.
Zoya,
Find me on Instagram on Zoya Mau, ZOYAMAAU.
Karthik.
I'm Grow Up Mohan on Instagram, Twitter.
Where can one find your beard?
Alternate timeline.
we need to switch to alternate timelines. So
Nice one.
Time travel.
And you can reach me at AbbasMomin88 on Instagram. That was our show of IVM Likes. We shall see you next week with a fresh round of recommendations and some more discussions. Till then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Namaskar, dear friends. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. Life, as you know, is a journey. And you and I, travelers, how can we celebrate this travel? I have a podcast for you. Begin the journey. I share stories and moments from my life. Do tune in every Monday and Thursday to listen to my podcast on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Cheers.
Come learn and experience the ABCDs of being queer with me, Shunetro,
And me, Farhad.
on our show Gay BCD.
The two of us take you through our stories and experiences of being gay men in the city of Mumbai and have candid
And sometimes downright scandalous.
conversations about sexuality, gay culture, and everything in between.
Catch new episodes of Gay BCD every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get all your podcasts from.